Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times, and I have the honor and the pleasure today of sitting down with a gentleman whose career I've been watching for a long time. I'm quite sure you've seen him as well. You've heard his takes on numerous sports shows. He's doing his thing right now on NBC's Peacock, brother from another. We'll talk about that momentarily. Michael Smith, how you feeling today, sir?
Good to see you, brother. How are you?
I'm great, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank
I
you.
want to know can you talk to me about your journey into sports journalism and into covering sports? Of course, we see you now as a personality, more as a media personality, because you talk to us about your journey into sports journalism, sports personality, into the media realm.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it kind of found me, and it found me before I really knew what I was doing, and for that matter, what I wanted to do. And I think it's why, if I could reflect on a journey at now 41 years old and 20 years in the game, I'm like, I'm just now figuring out how I want to move versus having those moves determined for me. Here's what I mean by that. It really started sophomore year of college, and I'm determining, I'm still switching majors left and right, still determining whether or not that summer, do I want to go to school and get more credits that summer? Do I want to get a job? What do I want to do that summer in New Orleans? Hang out, chill. How am I going to make the most of those summer months? This would have been 98, summer 98. So summer after my freshman year at Loyola, New Orleans. I get a call unsolicited from the New Orleans Times-Picayune, where I had done a high school internship, so they knew me. Okay. But they asked me if I wanted to be a sports intern. They never had a sports intern before for the summer. I was like, shit, why not? Are you gonna pay me to cover sports? Sure. So I do it, and I'm like, okay, I can dig this. Like I'm writing. They tell me I'm good at it. I'm enjoying it. It's something I obviously have a passion for. Why not? So at that point, just the way I'm wired, man, is like I'm always gonna figure out, okay, what's next? What's the next step? What's the next level? How can I grow? And so I sent out the next fall at Loyola, I sent out 30 packages of, at that point, we were putting together newspaper clippings. So clippings from the Times-Picayune. And by that time, I had been working with the school paper as well, the Loyola Maroon. Okay. So I put together all my clips and on a copy machine, good old Xerox machine, put together a resume, old school, all on that big, thick resume paper, all that stuff, right? And I sent it out to 30 papers across the country. The biggest 30 papers in New York, LA, Chicago, Florida, all around the country. I only got one offer for an internship for the following summer, and that was the Boston Globe. Only the Boston Globe read my stuff and liked my stuff enough to offer me an internship the following summer. And really, man, the rest is history. I kicked ass that summer. They said, come back next summer. When I graduated from college, they said, come back and work for us full time. And while I was there, Around the Horn started. And one of the newsrooms, I don't know if you remember Around the Horn when it first started, was located in newsrooms. One of them was the Boston Globe. In an effort to kind of make me satisfied about being at the Boston Globe, because I had some other papers that were looking at me wanting to hire me, the sports editor at the Globe was like, we'll put you on Around the Horn. That's how I got on ESPN, was because I was working at the Boston Globe. Wow. Not because ESPN was like, oh, we want to put you on. The Boston Globe was like, put this kid on because, people are peeping him. People are peeping his work for our paper. Put him on. ESPN was like, oh yeah, you're pretty good at this. Why don't you just come work for us full time? Like, okay. And I think the theme is who says no, almost like they said with NBA trades. Who says no to the Boston Globe out of college? Who says no to ESPN 3 years later? Who says no to Sports Center? What would that be? 2016, 12 years later, or something like that, if my math is right. And so I guess the moral of the story is, man, yeah, I put myself in those positions to have those opportunities. But really, I was always going along with what I thought the next move should be, or what I thought made sense, or dollars and cents, as the case may be, as opposed to what is it that I really want to do? What is it that makes me happy? What is it that fulfills me? It really took a forced sabbatical for me to start to realize those things. I'm gonna stop now because I can ramble all day.
Oh, no. That's great information right there. Also, I want to know about your on-screen chemistry with Jemele Hill. You two created a lot of magic together. Numbers never lie, his and hers. phenomenal. And what you two did pairing for just sports media and excuse me, black media in the sports world and entertainment world, I think is highly underrated. I think it is extremely underrated for what you two did and how y'all allowed y'all platform to shine for many others, such as myself and others who are pursuing, to reach those high marks. Talk to me about your relationship with Jemele and how that all came about.
We knew each other for a while. Prior to 2011 or 12, we had always been close friends and always supported each other and wanted some kind of opportunity to work together. We knew we had a special chemistry and a bond and the ability to challenge each other in unique ways, especially as a black man and a black woman. So it started with the podcast, and that was before podcasts were really popping. It was like, all right, they won't give us a show, let's just do a podcast, almost as an afterthought, not knowing what his and hers would grow into. I would say, man, like for me, I thought it was important because I was already positioned on Numbers Never Lie.
Okay.
They being the powers that be at ESPN had already denied me the opportunity to work with Jemele Hill, Michael Holley, and Bomani Jones. Those were the three people that, when they asked me who you want to work with, I said Jemele, Bomani, Michael Holley.
Okay.
At that point, they weren't ready for two black people on the screen at the same time. Not holding down the show. They weren't ready for that at that time. And so a lot of people still ain't ready for it. And so through evolution and frankly attrition, they finally acquiesced to adding Jemele to Numbers Never Lie, which I was hosting at the time. I remember the producers wanted me to continue hosting it exclusively. I felt like it was important to establish Jemele as my equal and work her into the hosting role. And I also felt it was important in general in terms of empowering, I don't want to say validating or assigning credibility, but before his and hers, to my knowledge, there was not a show. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of the women, the powerful, the strong women who preceded Jemele or the shows that preceded his and hers, no disrespect, because, you had your Robin Roberts of the world, for example, or your Jackie McMullins, Leslie Visser. You had a lot of different women who were holding it down in sports media, but there was not a show where the woman was a full-time commentator equal to the man. You might have a woman who was hosting it and would basically run point, for lack of a better phrase, and pass it to a man, but you didn't have a woman that was offering her opinion on a daily talk show, to my knowledge. I thought it was important for men to see a man respect a woman in that way. I thought it was important for men to see a fellow man listen to and at times defer to a woman in that way. And so so my approach to television has always been just trying to make everybody around me better. That's my goal, is to make anybody that I'm co-hosting with, anybody that's a guest, be their best selves. That's always my mentality. I think I'm a point guard by nature. I suck at basketball, but from a television standpoint, I'm a point guard by nature. And I know I can score. I know I can get mine. But what brings me more pleasure and what I think wins games, if I could, push that analogy, is bringing out the best in the people that I'm sharing the screen with.
Well said. A lot of knowledge dropped right there. And I think what you said is very real about a black man showing that he can defer and listen to a black that yeah. you got that point across for sure. I damn sure think you got that point across for sure. Talk to me about what's going on in your new realm in the sports world, because as we mentioned, you're doing things with Peacock.
Yep.
You are working with a gentleman in which you wanted to work with before.
It's all coming full circle. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I got one more to check off. If I could work full time with Bomani, then I'll be 3 for 3 eventually. And I think it just goes to show you, man, like, everything in due time. The industry, society at large, but the industry in particular is oftentimes slow to catch up. They're slow to pick up on what's going on. There's not a lot of foresight, frankly, in sports media. It's a lot of people that's looking to, jump on and ride the latest wave and then take credit for it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because I've been having these same conversations. I've been having these same takes. I've been holding it down and keeping it real. My colleagues are the same people that they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when the industry succumbed to stick to sports. But now everybody wants to have the conversation. Everybody wants to have everybody wants to, when I say everybody, I'm talking about media. I'm talking about mainstream media. I'm talking about news media. I'm talking about sports media. Everybody wants to embrace representation now, not just representation in terms of Black faces on the screen, not just representation in terms of women on the screen, but now everybody wants to embrace the representation of the Black perspective. It's like, oh, okay, let's find people to have the conversation about the intersection of sports and society, as if that's a new thing. You know, I'm old enough to remember 2017 when like I said, it was stick to sports. I'm old enough to remember when Colin Kaepernick was blackballed versus being included in Black history videos by the very league that blackballed him. I'm old enough to remember when, you know, conversations about Black Lives Matter were seen as a detriment to TV ratings. Now those same networks want to do specials on it, you know? So fast forward to this summer, I'm sitting there minding my own business, and my longtime friend Michael Holly hit me up, and it was like, yo, man, they asked me if I wanted to do a daily show, and asked me who I would want to do it with, and I said, there's only one person, and that's you. I was like, look, man, I'm trying to build my company. I'm trying to build Inflection Point Entertainment. I'm trying to be a content creator. I've been there, done that on camera. Me giving my hot takes on sports, you know, that doesn't do it for me anymore. I've done that already. There's nothing else for me to do on screen. Like, I want to build a business. I want to build a company. I want to tell stories. I want to produce stories. I want to develop content. I want to give other people an opportunity to tell their stories in various forms and formats. I mean, like, I love you, bro, but I've been there, done that. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And I said, okay, I'll do it on the condition that this ain't a sports show. Like, I'm not only a sports journalist. That's not all I care about. I want a type of show where I can not just be unfiltered, because I never felt filtered, but I have felt restricted. And there's, I think, a difference. And by restricted, I mean, at the end of the day on ESPN, we were doing a sports show. So there was only so much time we could devote to topics that did not intersect with sports. That's just the reality of the situation, you know, because we couldn't just go completely off the reservation. I wanted a type of show where on any given show, I could talk about for however long I want to talk about it, fatherhood, marriage, current events and news, sports, music, movies, anything I wanted to talk about. That's the kind of show that I was going to have to do in order to sign up to do this again. And to their credit, NBC and Peacock was like, cool, that's what we're looking for anyway. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so, you know, we're work in progress, man. Like, you know, we're trying to just build an audience and just to kind of connect it to what you were telling me off camera, man. Like, you expressing your appreciation for his and hers. Like, I don't do this to be the most popular. I don't do this to be the most viewed. I don't think that's what it's about, because there's a lot of bad TV that gets consumed by the masses. There's a lot of people, frankly, can I cuss on this?
Yes, indeed.
There's a lot of people that ain't shit that's got a big following. I don't feel the need to say names, but y'all know who they are. It's pretty obvious. There's a lot of people that ain't about shit, that ain't saying nothing, that talk loud and don't say nothing, that's got a big following. That's not what I'm here to be. Like, for me, I want the people who fuck with me to fuck with me hard. That's my goal. And so if that's 5 people, if that's 5 million people. So when I do Brother from Another every day, and I would give this advice to anybody trying to create content or trying to find their voice, is don't worry about having mass appeal. Don't worry about trying to get the most followers and the most views and the most clicks and the most hits. Be your unapologetic, unfiltered, raw, real, authentic self. And people gonna find you and they're gonna fuck with you. Be that, and that's it. And those that don't, they don't. Okay. Is what it is. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but the people that fuck with Michael Smith fuck with me hard. That's the people I care about appealing to.
That's well said. That's something that I'm learning in my journey. That is for damn sure something I'm learning in my journey, because I have been worried, oh, I'm not getting this many views, or not clicks here or clicks there. But my wife had to bring that to my attention. Like, man, you know, the people who are rocking with you, they've been rocking with, like, appreciate those people. Stop worrying about the motherfuckers who not worried about you.
Exactly
Like,
right. It is one of the things that helped me stop fighting haters. Like, I used to waste a lot of fucking time responding to bullshit on social media. I used to waste so much of my time. I have one regret in this life. It's the amount of time I gave to people who ain't worth it, you know? And I think it was because there was, I mean, maybe there was insecurity, but maybe it was just like I felt like I had to defend the work that I was putting out there. And I'm not sure why. But now, you know, I'm just like, all right, man. You know, because, you know, and listen, it's not to say you can't be competitive. It's not to say you can't want people to recognize what you're doing. No, you should. I mean, we're not doing it for ourselves. Like, who we fooling? Like, we're not putting this content out just to, you know, talk to ourselves. Like, we want people to consume it. We want people to appreciate it. I'd be lying if I didn't say pats on the back or credit or props didn't feel good, but that can't be your motivation. That can't be the thing that defines you, because when that stops, you'll find yourself looking for some other form of validation. And if you're always searching for external validation, you'll never be satisfied. You'll never be pleased with where you are on your journey. You'll never be proud of what you've accomplished, because you're looking for somebody else's confirmation and affirmation, you know, to make it worthwhile. So
talk to us a little bit more about your production company. As you mentioned, you're doing more in the content creation realm. That's one of the things I did always appreciate about you. And it wasn't just sports. I could come to you and hear about fatherhood. I could hear about something that might go on in a Marvel film. I love what goes on in the Marvel realm and whatnot. I appreciated that you did give us more than sports. So by you saying that, you know, that you're not just someone that gives sports takes. I appreciate that. And I've seen that in your career. Talk to us about the new stage in your career and what you're doing.
Yeah, man, I've always just wanted to have autonomy and take ownership of the stories that I told, the content that I created. I think for a long time, being in such a corporate environment like ESPN, I had to color within the lines. Now, I could use what crayons I wanted, you know, and I could design it how I wanted, but there was always these lines that I had to color within. Or this, think of it as like the difference between taking a coloring sheet that the teacher gives you, say, hey, color this, or just having a blank canvas and deciding to just, what do I want to create? What do I want to make? The latter always appealed to me more than just trying to make the best of the situation that I was presented. And so, man, I'm just trying to tell good stories, and I'm not trying to rush this process. I'm trying to embrace this process. Like today, frankly, was a shitty day because some of the conversations I had, some of the emails I got, some of the developments that took place on the project front, you know, could be seen as a setback. Like, what I'm learning is how to deal with disappointment. What I'm learning is how to, like, deal with, you know, a lot of the bullshit that's inherent to the business world. But I'm embracing that process. So Inflection Point Entertainment is a few months old. You know, I'm trying to tell stories that matter. I'm trying to tell stories about, I think the point of change in people's lives and in people's journeys is the most compelling part of the story. You know, where the shit hits the fan, for lack of a better phrase. And whether that's individuals, institutions, or industries. And so, got a few projects in the works. I'm trying to take it slow. I'm trying to crawl before I walk, trying to learn how to move and how to navigate in this business, and realize, like, you know, I didn't become a national personality overnight. And so I'm not expecting to become an award-winning creator overnight either. I know that's going to take some time too. So I can't get impatient, trying to remind myself not to be impatient. But yeah, we got some things popping off, and very soon, I think you'll be seeing and hearing a lot more from Inflection Point Entertainment. Sold my first scripted series at the end of the year.
Okay.
Which was about a year in the making. And I didn't write it, I didn't create it, but I shepherded the process, and I'm really proud of that. I shepherded the process of attaching a showrunner, of attaching a celebrity EP who for now shall remain nameless, but a celebrity EP, a showrunner, putting together the pitch materials, arranging the pitches, just really bringing the whole group together and getting it to a point where, a major streamer bought the series and greenlit the series. So that was a learning experience, but it was also one of those things that getting that win let me know, like, oh, I could do this. So these sticky notes on my wall that right now are ideas, I know that I have what it takes to bring them to life. So
that's very dope. I wish you the best of luck as far as that journey is concerned. I can't sit down with you though and not ask you a sports question or two, or just get your take on what's going on in the world of sports. We're seeing a lot of hoopla surrounding Deshaun Watson. His time in Houston has come to an end. I personally wish that the Texans would just face it and stop with all the BS. We're not trading him. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Where do you think would be a great landing spot for Deshaun Watson to continue his career?
I'd like to see him go someplace. I think a Miami or San Francisco are the best spots for him in terms of those organizations are an elite quarterback away from being real contenders. Miami's got a really good defensive special teams. You upgrade their quarterback situation. I don't know what Tua is. I don't know what he isn't either. But you upgrade that quarterback position, and it's Buffalo and Miami for AFC East supremacy for years to come. The same with San Francisco. Could you imagine putting Deshaun Watson in a division that with Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray, like talking about the Wild Wild West? So I love to see those two. What I think is going to happen is I think Deshaun Watson is going to be a pioneer before he's playing for another team. And honestly, you're the first person I've expressed this thought to. Well, I have said that I think it's going to get better before it gets worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, I think the Texans are the type of organization to cut off their nose to spite their face. They're the type of organization to say, you know what? We're not letting a player talk his way out of town or his agent talk his way out of town. You got a contract. We'll just sit on you. And if you decide you're not going to show up, we'll find the shit out of you. I think Deshaun is going to be the type of player that ends up sacrificing for the people coming after him. I think he'll win in the end, but I think it's going to be a costly win in the short term. I think he's going to end up forfeiting money, maybe having to sit and miss games in the name of principle. I don't see the Texans just deciding, oh, all right, man, you know what? Oh, you unhappy? Cool. We got you. We'll let you go. They don't strike me as that type of organization, that type of ownership group. So Deshaun's going to have to be dug in. And I think it's going to be one of those where I don't mean to overstate it, and I certainly don't mean to minimize it, but it could be a Kurt Flood type situation. It could be something where, like, he makes history, but it comes with a price in terms of taking a situation in pro football and bringing the NBA era of empowerment, of player empowerment that we're into pro football, which we haven't really seen outside of the draft. And outside of like somebody that's on a franchise tag that hasn't signed. Like, you've seen guys with a franchise tag that are technically not under contract. You've seen them not report. We've seen people hold out. Eventually they cave. Eventually the players union always caves when it comes to going head to head with the owners. Like, if there's a lockout, a work stoppage, or a strike, the owners don't give in first. Never happens because the players need the money. We have not seen a player under contract just say, I want out. Hasn't happened. So I think if Deshaun is dug in and Deshaun sees this through, it could set quite a precedent, which goes back to why the Texans ain't gonna be quick to do this, because they don't want to set this precedent.
I think that's extremely well said. I agree with you 1,000%. The Texans, they ain't budging. Ignorantly, they're not budging. So I think it's going to be like a week 7 type situation, and we may not see Deshaun.
You may not see him all season.
And then in the world of the NBA, are you sold on us possibly seeing a Brooklyn, Los Angeles Lakers finals? Now, of course, Anthony Davis, we don't know what's up with his health. He's going to miss the next 3 weeks or so, possibly even more time after the All-Star break. Who do you see in the NBA finals? Or are you buying the hype of Brooklyn and LA?
I mean, I like LA until further notice. I mean, for the regular season, I love what the Jazz have been doing. I think there's a lot of interesting team in the West for the regular season, but when it's all said and done, I'm not betting against the Lakers to go back, a healthy Lakers squad to go back. In terms of the East, man, I think Brooklyn would be the most fun series. I just don't know that it's a foregone conclusion. Like it feels like when you look on paper, it feels like, man, how's a team with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant not gonna make it to the finals? We've seen star-studded teams fall short before, and they don't defend, and that's not going to change. And if it does change, it's going to change significantly enough come playoff time. They're not just battling the rest of the East; they battling history, and history says a bad defensive team does not, no matter how much offensive firepower you have, a bad defensive team does not go deep in the playoffs. So unless they find a way to reinvent themselves over the course of this season, even with all those points, I still don't see, I still don't see them emerging from the East. I'd be more inclined to go with a Philadelphia.
Okay.
Even in Milwaukee, I know Milwaukee's come up short a couple of years, but even in Milwaukee, a Philadelphia, I think there's only, I don't know. It would completely destroy the paradigm. Like we've been saying defense wins championships for decades. It'd be real interesting to see a team that's not only is not a great defensive team, but a bad defensive team end up, making it all the way through. But I love to see it. I'm rooting for it. LA and Brooklyn will be fire. I'm rooting for it for sure.
Yeah, I am as well. I want to see that. Terrell Thomas, TheseUrbanTimes, sitting down with the one and only Michael Smith. Before I let you go, there's two more things I want to ask. Have you had a chance to sit down and check out any of Marvel's latest sitcom drama, whatever you want to call it, WandaVision? Have you sat down and gathered everything that's going on in that realm?
Man, the other day I had a little issue with my Disney Plus sign. My kids woke me up first thing Saturday morning. It was like, Dad, where Disney Plus isn't working. We got to watch WandaVision. And I had to get it. That was the thing I had to get fixed immediately. WandaVision is one of the. It's like I'm gonna stop ranking them, man, because it's one of the best things Marvel's ever done, and I don't want to figure out where it fits in, because then you start mixing the films. You know what I mean? And it's just wait a second, is it better? Is it better than this movie? This movie, I'm like, you know what? I'm just put WandaVision in its own category. It's brilliant, man. It is nothing short of brilliant. They've opened up a whole new world of possibilities. I was always a Wanda Maximoff, Elizabeth Olsen fan, especially as the series progressed. And to see them showcase her power this way is really so much fun. And you just say to yourself, wow, how many more characters can they do this with? I mean, we're about to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're about to have, what's the other? We got that Loki series coming out soon. Not to mention various Phase 4 films. So yeah, man, I'm addicted to WandaVision. It just gets better and better. The first few episodes, I'm like, oh, I like what they're doing. Episode 4 was like, oh, word, that's what we're doing? And yeah, man, WandaVision is appointment viewing for me. And I like the way they're doing it weekly. It's something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, I hate that, honestly. I hate that they're giving it to it. Just a half an hour piece is like a 40 minutes. As soon as you get geared in, then we see the credits drop and whatnot.
I haven't been this excited for a release since The Last Dance, man. Last Dance, I think, was the last thing to come out weekly that was like, okay, let's do this. Let's sit down and watch this. Now, granted, Last Dance was on ESPN, so everybody was watching it at the same time. So it was even more of an event. Whereas WandaVision is more, it's obviously available and people are watching it throughout the day. But man, it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah, I'm a cat. I gotta watch it at 4 a.m. I have my alarm set because I don't want people tweeting and saying what happens. I fell for that at the end of episode 2, people tweeting out. So I've just learned I need to watch it early and make it happen. And before I let you go, what are you listening to nowadays? I know that you're a big music connoisseur. What are you listening to help you get into the mood?
Man, since I'm not in the car as much and I'm managing my wife and my kids, I'm not really listening to much new stuff. I'm kind of setting my ways. So this isn't new, but I would say the best thing that I got put onto, let's just say the last 6 months, man, is, and I still spend it whenever I get in the car, is that Alfredo, that Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist.
Okay.
That, and I mean, I'm still listening to me, were the two best albums that I heard in 2020. I haven't pivoted to 21 yet. Was Alfredo and The Written Testimony. I'm going back and forth between those two. Other than that, man, I haven't really gotten into too much of new stuff, to be honest with you. I'm happy to take your recommendations, because I guess when you get to be my age, man, a lot of it is, you know, you still listening to the shit that you listened to that did it for me in college and in high school, man. So, you know, I think before that, you know, really, RTJ4 was exciting because I love Run the Jewels. Freddie Gibbs kind of turned me on to like Conway the Machine and Benny the Butcher, so I started listening to them a little bit.
I was gonna throw out Benny. I listen to Benny a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, man. But other than that, man, I'm still going back to Biggie. I'm still going back to Pac. I'll throw in some J. Cole, and then just a lot of smooth R&B. That's what I grew up on, and that's what I put my wife on too. So we grown folks music most of the time around the house. So
okay. Have you had a chance to check out the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack?
You know what? I haven't. Should I?
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Pretty dope.
Now the score of the film was incredible. So the soundtrack is something completely different then.
Some of the a few of the songs that were in the film are there, but it's pretty much completely different. Jay-Z and Nipsey have a track going there together. Nas has a track on there by Hit Boy that's dope. Hit Boy has his own track on there that's pretty dope. Black Thought is on there with a dope track. It's nice, man. It's nice. It's nice.
Okay, yeah.
I was pretty impressed. As far as soundtracks go, I was damn sure pretty impressed.
Okay, I'm in. Thank you. I'm in. I saw that they had put it out there, but I never spun it. I never gave it a spin yet. But that's good. All right, cool. That's what's up. I'm in.
That's a good one right there.
I'm in.
Michael, I appreciate your time so much today. Definitely a pleasure to sit and chat with you. I know our audience is going to be thrilled to sit back and watch this interview, get some gems, learn about what you have going on. Very excited to see where you take yourself in the next couple of years, where you take your new company in the next couple of years. Hopefully in a few months, we can sit down and chat again and talk about the series that's been picked up once, we find out exactly where it's going and where it's headed. I damn sure appreciate your time today, man. Please continue to do great things.
Terrell, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the compliments, your time, and the interest in my story. And yeah, let's definitely do it again soon.